Hey YouTubers, Steve here, and before I cut back to the raw footage of me doing the rework on this Gundam Unicorn LED mod, I just wanted to do a quick intro and explain something that's kind of important that I didn't go over during just the rework of this, and that's how I went about installing each of these LEDs. I think that's kind of important if you wanted to follow my example and do something similar. So how I did this, basically I started by soldering an LED onto a PC board and putting a very long wire on the negative side and then like a shorter wire on the positive side. Then I put it starting in the foot, so you'll see where I put it in the next part of this video, but then I took the longer, or actually then I started just drilling small holes with my pin vise and feeding the wires up through like the inner frame of the foot and up through the ankle and stuff until I reached this point where I installed a second LED. I did this by finding a good place for it, and what I did was I took the shorter wire that was on the positive side of this LED and put it to the negative of this LED, then put another wire onto the positive, and yeah, kept drilling with my pin vise small holes, moving up and being very careful to make sure the wires are out of the way of all the armor pieces and moving parts and stuff. And yeah, I just kept working my way up through the kit and just doing the same thing. So that longer wire that's on the positive or the negative side of this LED is actually this one. So it's just one long wire that just goes all the way through, and this one just keeps connecting each of the LEDs. So I thought that was important to point out. Hopefully that helps you understand how I did this while you're watching the rest of this video. I noticed something I did poorly, and I'm going to try to fix it. Unfortunately, there's a lot that can go wrong. So I don't know how well you can tell, but the PC board I used in this very tight area is much too big, and yeah, this clear pink part was not sitting properly there. So something I learned later on was that to make this PC board as small as possible, you can take a file, and after you've snipped it down, just kind of file the edges down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to replace that with a new one. And yeah, since I'm talking about this PC board right now, I might bring up the LEDs. When you're buying LEDs, you may want to consider size. I would go with a 603 size, which stands for the area of the mounting pads, the solder pads that you would solder to. So you can get different sized pads. So this is a 603 size, so I recommend getting the 603. I'm not sure many sellers on like eBay actually list the size of the LED, so that's something to consider. Okay, hopefully everything is still working. Battery. Excellent. So, I was successful in replacing that LED. I could show you kind of what I mean. If you can see that, there's that peg, and the LED needs to fit between that crack, and before it wasn't even close, so this didn't sit quite all the way down. So this should, yep, perfect. So it's now time to pop open the knee. As you can see, still have range of motion, and I did that by how I ran the wires. So it goes in through the back of this piece here, and kind of around there, and then out I guess through the center of this top piece here. So quite a bit of work to get that to work. So my next problem now is to figure out how to feed a couple more wires up through there. So I made a few changes. At this point, it was the 26 gauge wire, and on the other end I switched to the 30 gauge wire wrap. Down here it doesn't make a difference, but up here through the knee and up through the thigh section, it's going to help to have this much thinner wire. So, and on the other wire, I just snipped off the rest right here and trimmed off the shielding and just soldered on this wire wrap. So this will make it a lot easier to feed these wires through, and yeah, get all these wires up through the knee and through the thigh section. Now got all the wires fed up through the knee and through all the places that they need to be. Real hard part is closing this up and getting this in the exact position. Actually getting all these wires kind of in the right position. So that looks good. I got knee articulation. That looks like it's in a pretty good spot. So all good. Now I just need to put that LED back and the resistor. And I gotta try to keep track of what color wire goes to what. So, getting closer. Alright, so time for some troubleshooting. I can keep this steady. So, plugging it in and it doesn't work, which means there's something wrong, obviously. So I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot. So right now I have two 3-volt batteries hooked up, so 6 volts. So I should be able to run 3 of the LEDs off of that. So I'm going to clip on. I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible. So I'm clipping on the ground side below that resistor. And I'm just going to go through and try to test. So, oops, I don't know if you saw that, but these two LEDs lit up. So the problem is this guy. Problem with making a series is if one in the series is bad, all of them are bad. So I could kind of look at it and see that I think it's that side. So I think I can just reflow the solder and hopefully solve this problem. So turns out I just had that backwards, so now we have lights. Alright, so the only thing I did after all that was paint the insides of a lot of these pieces. What that does is it keeps the light from shining through the plastic on some parts. And I also coated each of the LEDs with a clear red just to try to diffuse the light. So I probably would have gone with a duller LED if I was going to do this project again. But anyways, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more updates. I am hoping to have this completely finished in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. Alright guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.